Thank you.
Continuing with the discussion of the tax white paper and its effect on SMEs, my next guest says that while the tax paper is positive for the sector, more changes are needed. For a first-hand view from a small business perspective on the tax white paper discussion, John Shim, former PwC partner and executive director at Runner Mobile Tyres, joins me now in the studio. Now, John, do you think the white paper goes far enough to help SMEs?
I think it's starting the debate to get to the outcome that all SME needs. And I think there's a lot in the white paper covering SMEs. And look, I think the first great step was about the share scheme. You know, they've changed the taxing point from the issue of the options to the actual when they actually look at selling the shares. So I think that's a great step in terms of helping SMEs attract great talent and make sure they don't pay tax too early.
So where do you think the deficiencies lie in the white paper as it stands at the moment?
Tax is very complex for SMEs. I mean, you look at this, FBT, GST, payroll tax, the list goes on, corporations tax, and it's really hard for small business owners to understand the whole tax legislation. So if they can simplify all of that for small businesses, I think it'll go a long way in terms of helping them focus their attention on business rather than compliance.
Now, you know firsthand what it's like. You used to be a partner at PwC, but now you run your own small business. How difficult is it to start up and run a small business in the current economic and regulatory environment in Australia at the moment?
It's very, very difficult. I think I totally underestimated how hard it is for SMEs in the Australian market. And it's largely because there are a lot of regulation outside of tax they've got to comply with, like OH&S, there's workers' comp and so forth. And, you know, a lot of SMEs, you know, it's really hard because the money that they spend in the business goes to paying employees first, their suppliers, and taxes as well after that. So what they get left is after paying everyone else. So it is very challenging to run a small business in the Australian market.
So what could the government be doing to cut red tape and make life easier for small businesses? What would you say it needs to be up there on the agenda?
Well, it's interesting. One of the things that they did comment on the white paper was in the early few years of an operation, small businesses, if they are loss-making, that they would help by refunding those losses. And that's a great initiative by the government in terms of supporting small businesses so they can be successful in terms of the long run.
So when it comes to compliance with tax, what would you say the biggest difficulty is there for SMEs?
It's just understanding the taxes. You know, there are local taxes, state taxes, there are federal taxes, all with different return year ends. So FBTs are a different year end to the company tax year end. So simplifying all of that, I think will go a long way in terms of making small businesses be more successful by focusing their time and attention in running the business.
Now, I suppose it's lucky for you. You come from an accounting background, but for, you know, mum and dad businesses that don't have that accounting background, where can they get more information? Do they have to go and see an accountant, or is there any way they can do it themselves to get more info on the various, you know, tax regulations they have to comply with?
I think for someone with no business knowledge, they definitely need a good accountant. If you structure your business incorrectly from day one, you could end up paying a lot of taxes versus if you structure it properly from day one. So there is a significant difference between getting right advice and getting no advice in terms of the outcome.
Now, SMEs often have to pay the same amount of, you know, the same sort of taxes bigger companies do. So should SMEs be taxed the same as individuals, do you think?
Look, I think SMEs provide a great economic boost to the environment. They provide employment opportunities, they provide additional taxes for the government, and I think there's got to be a recognition for that. And that may mean, you know, discussion about lower tax rates for small businesses. You know, I would applaud the government assisting small businesses in helping improve the economy. And
just how expensive can it get for SMEs to comply with current tax regulation? How many thousands of dollars?
Okay, so starting up Runner Mobile Tyres, a brand new business, it's costing us about $10,000 a year just to comply with the tax requirements for the first year of operation. So it's a lot of money to actually comply with a tax regime.
So first and foremost, what should the government be doing? You as a small business owner, what change do you want to see happen first?
To help small businesses, I think one of the things they could help is making sure tax returns are only required when they're profitable, or maybe saying in the first 3 years of operation you only submit one tax return.
John, thank you very much for joining us today.
Pleasure.
Time for a short break now, and when we return, we'll get a pulse check on what's trending in the small business sector. Stay with us.